Today I'm sitting down with Austin Calvo, who is one of the presidential candidates for the SGA elections. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today, Austin.
Thank you for having me.
So we're just going to start off talking about you and your SGA experience so far. Start off the bat, why did you first join SGA?
So when in the fall, the first time I was here as a freshman, I joined because I was student body president in high school, and I was like, well, student government makes sense. But I didn't know, my student government in high school was we planned prom, we did homecoming, that kind of stuff, and I didn't even know that SGA here was more initiative-based and advocacy and those kinds of things. So when I got in and I realized that's what it was, I kind of fell in love with it even more because I'm a political science major and advocacy is really important to me. So when I found out that I was going to actually be able to affect real change and work with administrators and see students' lives affected, I was super excited about that.
How would you say, in your experience so far, how has that prepared you to this next step to become president of the student body?
So I think that it's prepared me in a lot of ways. The biggest thing that I am running on is advocacy and making sure that the student voice is actually heard. And in the past year and a half, I've been the vice president for student experience, which pretty much sole purpose is to keep a pulse on the student experience and know what students want and what students are looking for. So having that as kind of my background, I think going into this year makes me very, very able to go out and talk to students and know how to talk to students and see what they're looking for and what they want. Because I think the biggest role of the SGA president is to be the biggest advocate. It's the only student on campus that gets to have one-on-one personal time with President Olean. That's a huge responsibility. And if you're not fighting for everything that students want that whole time you're there, then it's a question of whether you should be in that seat,
In your position last year as VP for student experience, what did you find that maybe was something that was really lacking in a student experience right now in Quinnipiac?
So I think one of the big things is opportunities to engage in discussion. We hosted Ask Away. We did 2 this past school year, one this semester and one last semester. And when we did the one last semester, it was a really big success. And we had so many students say we want more stuff like this. We want more opportunities to engage in dialogue with someone that has different thoughts, because we're in such a polarized society right now that everyone just just demonizes the other side. And it's a lot different conversation. You can sit down and talk with someone and not just be oh, you're pro-gun, so that means you hate everything that I stand for. It's an actual conversation, and that's really real. So I think that's one of the big things. And then another one of the big things is kind of just going back to the thing I've been talking about a lot, is just advocacy, is just having people actually listen to students and having their voices actually be heard and reflected to administration.
Earlier you said that one of the key things about SGA is that you guys spearhead these initiatives. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about maybe some of the initiatives that you've spearheaded in your time with SGA? So
my freshman year, I worked on getting shuttles to and from airports before and after long breaks. Since I'm from Oregon, it was really important to me. I spend $70 to Uber to Bradley if none of my friends can take me. It's very expensive. And as the university is amping up its outreach to the not big 4 states, that's something that we have pushed more and more. And we're if you're going to start recruiting all these students from California, from Hawaii, from the West Coast, you need to be providing for these students and giving them opportunities to get to school. It doesn't cost $70. So that's one of the big things I worked on freshman year. And then sophomore year, I was the secretary for SGA, so I didn't really work on initiatives all too much. And then second semester, I've been sitting as the vice president for student experience, and the executive board doesn't really work on initiatives too much. I was just planning Ask Away and doing charter review of recognized organizations.
Fast forward to Wednesday night. Say you're elected president, what are some of the first few changes or things you'd like to implement?
So the past couple days when I've been going door to door. Our election week started on Wednesday. I have been going door to door since Wednesday. I hit the ground running. The first opportunity I was able to, and I have literally been going to students. I've been asking what is what you want me to work on. I think it's more important for me to create a platform and a campaign driven completely by the student voice rather than me to present a platform and be this is what I'm running on, support me. I'd rather them tell me what they want me to work on and actually work on it. So I've been writing down every single student complaint I hear in this little journal that I have. And when I have my first meeting with President Olean, I want to hand that to her, and I want to say, this is what students are complaining about. This is what students want to see change. What are we doing about it? So that's the main thing that I want to do, is just kind of put it directly in administration's face. This is 10 pages of student concerns and issues. We need to do something about it.
And what makes you the best candidate for this position?
I think what makes me the best candidate is what I just said. I I came into this week with my only campaign was advocacy, transparency, and creating a student-centered environment. And through those things, like I said, I've gone door to door, I've listened to students, I've talked to students. I want to work on what the students want me to work on, and I want SGA to work on what the students want SGA to work on, not us to work on what we think the students want us to work on. So from going door to door and from talking to people, I have found out exactly what students want. I have 10 pages of things that students want. So I'm not going to be coming into this position saying like, oh, this is my campaign, this is what I ran on, this is what students I'm going to be saying this is exactly what students want because they told me.
Well, Austin, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Thank you for having me.
And best of luck on Wednesday. Polls open at 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Make sure to vote on Do You QU. To follow along with all of Q30's SGA election coverage, make sure to go to q30tv.com/debates2019.